Yes, you can check. I didn't build this website Coin Week and doctor this and make such a fantastic tale. I've checked it a couple places. I had the email forwarded to me. I've seen pictures of it. These are the United States Mint words. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics on another exciting day in the silver market, which I know I've said before. But this time, thanks in particular to the U.S. Mint, who had some interesting news, finally even mentioning a global silver shortage. Well, I think that counts as significant in my book, because now it's not just your average conspiracy theorist down the block talking about this, but actually the U.S. Mint itself, which Andy Schectman tells me is mandated. He sent me the little legal code by law to go out and buy silver. Yet, if you are a U.S. Mint customer, you got the news last night that basically things are postponed. The United States Mint sent an email to its customers informing them that previously announced pre-order windows for 2021 Morgan Dollar and Peace Dollar 100th anniversary issues were being postponed due to problems encountered by collectors. And as we scroll down here, I won't read the entire thing, but what really caught my eye was here in line 2. I'll leave that highlighted. As I say, dear valued customer, the U.S. Mint is committed to providing the best possible online experience to their customers. The global silver shortage, yes, you can check. I didn't build this website Coin Week and doctor this and make such a fantastic tale. I've checked it a couple places. I had the email forwarded to me. I've seen pictures of it. These are the United States Mint words. Global silver shortage has driven demand for many of our bullion and numismatic products to record heights. Level of demand is felt most acutely by the Mint during the initial product release of numismatic items, which, by the way, on a side note, we'll come back to that. But I stocked up on a lot of things, as you heard me say on the show, which was not advice, but I thought, I wonder, like, if there's a real issue in the supply chain. This was after February 2nd. There's some of these things you won't be able to get now, and some of them now are out of stock. So it's right. But I have a couple that are up for barter and trade, which we'll cover. Anyway, so there you go. It's affected numismatics first. Morgan Dollar, Carson City. The extraordinary volume of web traffic caused significant numbers of Mint customers to experience website anomalies, resulted in their inability to complete the transaction. So they can't even get the website to work. Sounds in line with government policy. Wow, Atlas Numismatics. Maybe I'll check that out later. Looks very cool. In interest of properly rectifying the situation, the Mint has decided to go and fulfill its legal mandate, purchase silver at whatever price it takes, which could conceivably drive the COMEX futures price even through the the Washington Redskins, the first year when they beat the Buffalo Bills and they had the Hogs, that offensive line that is protecting the wall that Rostin Benham hides behind that tamps down the price at $30. And because of all these things, the Mint's going to go out and fulfill that mandate, purchase at any quantity required to meet the public demand. I know. As I told you, I'm heading down to Mexico soon. I thought this was Spanish, and I was translating. Just realizing now this is in English. Let me take that again. Instead, so I remove a little more space dust. It says, in the interest of properly rectifying the situation, the Mint is just going to postpone the pre-order windows. They're going to throw in the towel and quit for the remaining 2021 Morgan and Peace silver dollars that were originally scheduled for June 1st and June 7th. And looks like pre-order window for the remaining, I don't know if that's for the end of the year, obviously worded in as confusing fashion as only a government advocate could. Well, inconvenient to many, screw you. I think that's what it says here. Well, inconvenient to many, stick it, because this deliberate delay will give the Mint the time necessary to obtain the web traffic management tools to enhance the user experience. So we're sorry We'll let you know when we got a website that works. I love it. As the demand for silver remains greater than the supply, we're hopefully going to fix our website is our solution. I swear I didn't make this. I did not doctor this article. Maybe Coin Week doctored it. Someone can check and let me know. I didn't write this. That's all I'm saying. Let's finish this baby off. I actually had just skimmed through this. I don't know what's coming in the next sentence yet. So we're going to experience this together here. And I won't edit this part out. I'm just doing the first take. All right, here we go. As the demand for silver remains greater than the supply, well, that doesn't sound good. Especially would be confusing because here, if you look at the price of silver, there it is when all these shenanigans started. Here's the beginning of February. Here's February 2nd. As had you been an Arcadia Economics regular viewer and subscriber, you would have known because I was reporting this week how even on February 2nd, that's Silver Tuesday, the greatest crime in the history of silver market, where the price fell 10%, while the bank's own ETFs were setting records. Bullion dealers couldn't answer all of their phone calls, and gold and silver demand surged, straining U.S. mint capacity. So anyway, as you can see here, this article in the U.S. Mint clearly acknowledging the obvious, some demand for silver remains greater than the supply. Now, what they did not answer is if they have any idea of why the price actually remains lower, at least if you mark from when the beginning of the buying spree until the market structure that Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, as well as Dick Burner voted on to tamp down the market policy, to which Rostin Benham has not personally responded, although I did hear back from the public media affairs director, and hopefully she'll get us some answers soon. So they did not explain why the price is lower yet. The reality is such that not everyone will still be able to purchase a coin. Maybe they hired the same investor relation representatives that Dick Hayes and the Perth Mint used when they said there's no problem with silver, but we have to limit it. And when I asked, well, why do you have to limit it if there's no problem? They said, so everyone can get some. I said, if you have plenty of silver, why is there concern of running out? I still haven't figured out why Mr. Hayes is so upset about his customers making him rich. Maybe that's just the American dream and Australians like to work harder, but he seemed pretty upset about that. I did reach out to him. He has not commented, perhaps because as auditor Rob Keentz of Gold Silver Pros has pointed out, it turns out they're not in the best financial shape and they may have lent out more metal than they have and then denied it to auditor Rob in a legal letter, which could be construed as obstruction of justice. I don't know, but if I hear back from Ross, the lawyer, Ross, the boss, I'll ask him. So anyway, in the interest of, let's paraphrase this one before we still haven't in the last sentence. In the interest of properly rectifying the situation, the reality is that not everyone will be able to purchase a coin because we can't fix our website. However, we're confident that during the postponement, we will be able to greatly improve on our ability to deliver the utmost positive U.S. Mint experience that our customers deserve. We'll announce revised pre-order launch dates as soon as possible. Thank you for being a customer. I mean, kumbaya to that. Now, before you guys start emailing me, I don't know how people find out my personal address, but before you say, Chris, why don't you have the U.S. Mint guys on the show? To which I would say, come on now. Come on, buddy. Because of course Silver Chris was on top of that and reached out. I actually called the U.S. Mint. You can see I know where the phone number is. Corporate Communications 202-354-7227. Give them a call now or write down the number on a note card so you can call again Monday, Tuesday, or maybe multiple days next week. Or you could just, if you can't wait, because these guys are on the government time clock, 9 to 5 or Monday to Friday. Looks like they're closed Saturday. Hopefully they're working on the website on the weekend. But you can email them. And if the website works and they get it, maybe you'll get a better answer because it was weird. I called the line and said, I hear a lot of shenanigans. I don't ever know what to believe. And the woman said, yeah, well, that's I mentioned that I had a show, and I didn't say anything about how some companies pay thousands of dollars to come on the show. Yet I was offering just to clear that up out of the free goodness of my heart because I care about my fellow Arcadians and getting the best information possible. She seemed excited, told me to forward the request to that email address, which I did. And they wrote back and said, after careful consideration, they were going to decline my request, and they hoped there was not too much devastation about that. It's actually weird phrasing, although I'm recovering. Fortunately, because while the Mint has not agreed to a formal interview request yet, I'll leave it open. And if anyone gets through, maybe if they would like to discuss this newest policy or any of the other exciting information that's on their website, you could let me know. But I know it's Friday night. I don't want to leave the Arcadians going home, without something to get the Mr. and Mrs. excited about before bedtime. So we'll roll it with some truly inspirational footage from former U.S. Mint Director Ed Moy that, wow, was it educational for me. As you can see, look, 111,000 views. I don't think I've had a video go that hot. And you're about to find exactly why this one did. We'll back it off double speed. That's right. I listen on double speed to most stuff. But just for my beautiful audience, let's hear what Ed had to say about the silver situation and gold situation. We've talked a little gold today, too.
When you add that together, you are seeing a 20% premium if you can even find the gold coins to buy.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there does seem to be a
disconnect. That's if you can find them.
Disconnect between spot gold price and demand for gold bullion. We're seeing a big premium in both silver and gold between the physical silver and paper silver, and as well, to your point, with gold. But I guess the question is, at what point does this premium catch up with the spot price?
When does it end?
Yeah, and I think what's artificially depressing the price of gold now is that there's a...
What the heck did that guy just say? What's artificially depressing the price of gold? I must have misheard that. Let's take it again. Alien talk.
Does this premium catch up with the spot price?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what's artificially depressing the price of gold now is that there's a lot of institutional investors that don't hold gold. But what they do is they buy gold.
They don't hold gold. So the price is being the price of gold is being driven down by people don't hold it.
Is that there's a lot of institutional investors that don't hold gold. But what they do is they buy gold.
I wonder which institutions he could be talking about.
Derivatives like futures and so on. And a lot of them are betting that the economy is going to recover, everything's going to be fine, and gold's going to go down.
It's incredibly unlikely.
But as those short contracts come up, what you're...
As those what?
Short contracts come up.
As those short contracts come up,
what you're seeing is a popping in price, just like...
So as the short contracts are removed, we're seeing a popping in the price? Is that what my man just said here on April 29th?
It did last week. It went from 1730 to maybe 1785. And I think over time, you're going to see much more of that, especially that since that not only the U.S. Mint, but also other mints around the world, Australian's Perth Mint, the Mexican Mint, have all run out of gold. They can't keep it in stock, and retailers can't. There's so many shortages. Retailers
what is this guy?
The Mexican Mint have all run out of gold. They can't keep it in stock, and retailers can't. There's so many shortages. Retailers are having problems accessing that gold.
All right, so...
God. I'm speechless. I'm just going to let this roll for another minute or two. I don't even know what to say to that one.
Given that the demand is there, and to your point, there are struggles with supplies, at least from a mint perspective, what does it mean for the price? What is your outlook for spot gold over, say, the next 6 months or so?
Yeah, that's another good point. And I would just point out that Goldman came out with their report today, and they think gold's going to go up to 2,000. And I would just point out that Goldman came out with their report today, and they...
Did he just cite Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs? Wow.
I would just point out that Goldman came out with their report today, and I think gold's going to go up to 2,000 over the next 6 months. I think that's
I mean, if Jeff Legend says so, then
a fairly reasonable prediction. It might even go up to 2,100. Because when you look at the price of the premium that it takes to buy a gold coin today, I think the true market price of gold is between $2,000 and $2,100.
And that's the current
so I can only
price.
assume that means that it's being suppressed by the paper contracts that if they ever expired and were not re-added on. Kind of like 1979 in October in silver, where 97 to 99% had always been rolled over until they weren't. But let's continue on.
Is reflected with a premium.
Yep.
So stands to reason if there is more demand, then that spot price should be even higher.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm a little conservative, but I do think.
Yeah, which I can frankly understand. I mean, you don't want to be throwing wild assertions out there, but, you know, just a little background. Is there anything to suggest it's possible that the demand could continue? Is that you go here, Janet Yellen says the government is operating like it's 2010, calls for more aggressive spending. Look at Janet Yellen. She noted that areas of several departments remain significantly underfunded. Clearly, the biggest problem plaguing the U.S. is a lack of spending and stealing by the government. I mean, infrastructure spending. Excuse me, I was reading my Bush crime family manual as I was packing up today, so I get a little confused, especially during the recordings. But yeah, you know, she believes we'll reach full employment soon, and it's just a tragedy that the spending is not at a sufficient rate yet, but she wants to fire that up, tackle the new bodies of work Congress has assigned, blow away that budget. So there you go. There's a chance that the demand will keep up, but let us see what Ed's forecast has.
I think there's a lot of unknowns out there. And so, but I do think that you will see gold prices appreciate at a fairly good pace from now until the end of the year.
Fairly
well,
good.
you know, Ed, you touched on this idea of there being a bit of a supply crunch, and that's led to some speculation, particularly with regards to silver, that there isn't enough.
Could be those Reddit warriors. You never know.
Physical silver to cover paper silver. We saw that.
Now she's throwing out conspiracy theories that there's not enough physical silver to cover the paper. I'm sure Ed is going to shoot that down. The former U.S. Mint director, if anyone is in position to confirm once and for all whether there's actually enough silver out there, well, I mean, despite their press release, their email last night, but since we couldn't get them on the phone, let's see what Ed says.
Debate sort of front and center during the recent GameStop Reddit-inspired silver squeeze attempt in February. So, I mean, what do you think? Is there enough physical silver to cover paper silver?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a growing issue, and that's the same thing as gold. When you take a look at the gold that's in COMEX, that gold is leveraged somewhere between 60 and 85 contracts per ounce of gold. That makes a big difference.
Hold on there, cowboy. I must have misheard the last part, because that would sound like there was a fractional reserve system within even the U.S. Mint, if I heard that correctly. They said there's like 60, or maybe not within the U.S. Mint. I mean, they wouldn't obviously ever participate in something like that, I'm sure. But I must have misheard it. So I apologize. Admit my mistakes. Let's take a crack at that again.
I think there's a growing issue, and that's the same thing as gold. When you take a look at the gold that's in COMEX, that gold is leveraged somewhere between 60 and 85 contracts per ounce of gold. That makes a big difference, because when you talk about individual investors, they don't have sophisticated derivatives to hedge.
See, the individual guy doesn't have those weapons of mass destruction as the legendary Warren Buffett, who, explained how gold is a doorstopper for years, when he could have been advising people and telling them about the virtues of gold before it had gone into this short squeeze. Interestingly, his father, Howard, seemed to understand it quite well. Not sure why Warren never spoke up. That could have been some nice leadership at a time when it mattered. But fortunately, Ed is here to pick up the torch and continue the education.
And so what they end up doing is buying the physical commodity. And so you might have an individual investor buy 10 ounces of silver or 1 ounce of gold. And that is such a
it's such a small amount. It couldn't possibly make a difference. Just a couple ounces here or there, right, Ed?
small impact considering the gold that is already, or silver that's already leveraged. And so that's why I don't see a lot of fluctuations in price now. But
because the actual physical market is so minuscule compared to the leveraged paper market, which he included earlier, how when they stop shorting, the price pops up.
Those derivatives come up to be called, I think you're going to see more and more future direction on increased inflation and people trying to cover their bets now because they know that price is going to go up later.
People are covering their bets now because they know the price is going to go up later. Wow, it's almost like if you didn't know better, you'd be like telegraphing if there's a reset coming or, whatever this Basel III thing is about. Because obviously I completely might in some galactic hypothetical reality trust that the BIS is going to do what's in the best interest of the people. Although, it would seem like the kind of thing where either the date gets pushed back or if it actually did go through, maybe that would just be the whopper they'd use to plan the reset, pull that over, and then you'd have other people to do the reveal, kind of like maybe something you'd see on YouTube. Obviously, the conspiracy theorists are out there. So let's just finish this up. I can't imagine what else the man would say.
And people trying to cover their bets now because they know that price is going to go up later.
So Ed, if I'm understanding you correctly, you do not think that there's enough physical silver and physical gold.
She frankly seems stunned. And I don't know if I would not have been able to keep it together myself. This is how I actually felt when I was talking with Bart Chilton. It's like, fortunately, I think I hit the record button. We'll review it later. Just
cover paper silver and paper gold right now.
Yes. Yep. I do think that there's a gap.
So what would that mean if somebody were to think that there's enough physical silver
now because they know that price is going to go up later?
So Ed, if I'm understanding you correctly, you do not think that there's enough physical silver and physical gold to cover paper silver and paper gold right now?
Yes. Yep. I do think that there's a gap.
So what would that mean if somebody were...
That is what Ed says on that. Now, hey, this was April 29th, which in today's topsy-turvy culture, it's like light years ago. So let's see, here is an interview with Charlotte McLeod, filmed on May 5th, released on May 11th. So let's pick it up from there and see what has been happening as Ed's been progressing.
The other interesting thing I point out is I was Mint director during the time of the financial crisis. And one of the challenges that we had during that time was one of the Mint's products, which is precious metal bullion. Its demand skyrocketed. It skyrocketed 700% for gold and 450% for silver. And we're seeing the impact of that now during the COVID economic crisis. We've seen gold demand shoot up. The United States Mint had its best first quarter ever in history on gold bullion. So much to the point where the U.S. Mint has had problems meeting that demand.
Well, geez, thank goodness that the Fed has been a fine steward away from all economic harm, like Janet Yellen said, ending any sort of catastrophe like that ever again. Because, just in case the Fed doing re-upping those swap lines over the past week or so, juicing those again, just in case that's not a complete random coincidence, it would sound unfortunate to have those conditions hit the gold and silver markets now, given what Ed has already told us. But let's pick it up what he says a little bit later on here.
And you can't denominate it to its precious metal content because of the fluctuating prices. So saying that, There are shortages in all the major mints right now due to high demand for these denominated
Sounds like it's already pretty fragile.
bullion coins, both gold and silver. And part of that is just due to, the shortages are due to the high demand. But the other part is due to supply chain challenges. So,
well, you got to watch out for the supply chain challenges. I know they're spreading to a lot of industries right now. But look, I don't want to belabor the point, but I think there's one last comment we'll take from Ed here, and then we'll move on to other more interesting stuff. I know what's the big deal? Getting caught up on it's Friday night. Come on, Silver Boy, move it along here. So here we go.
If you melted the two pieces of polymer, sandwiching this, you would get exactly 1/10 of a gram, which is about $6 of the gold. Now, all of a sudden, gold becomes much more affordable to a greater number of people, and that's what's driving our demand.
That's really interesting, and I appreciate.
I wonder what else could be more affordable to people than gold that they might be interested in if you were doing like bundle marketing or something.
The examples that you had to show. So we've been talking a lot about gold, which is always great. I do want to throw in a question on silver, where we're also seeing quite an interesting situation develop over the last few months. We've seen retail investors really snapping up physical silver, trying to create this silver squeeze and push the price up. I've heard a lot of different perspectives about whether it's actually possible to squeeze the silver price in that way by buying up physical metal. So I wanted to get your perspective on what's going on there.
Yeah, very relevant question, given what recently happened with the whole GameStop situation and Robinhood. When you look at that, GameStop, they were able to put the squeeze on that and really shook up the market a bit. And GameStop's not a small company. It has a market cap of $12 billion. And then soon after that, these individual investors were looking for other targets that they thought.
Well, it's interesting, and we'll revisit this another time, but they actually shook up the market for First Majestic Silver as well. And I wonder if there's going to be a congressional hearing on that, or if, I don't know, the CFTC and Congress will wait till I produce my file on it. We'll see which happens first there, but Melvin Capital, shout out to you guys, fellas. I hear your name pop up a lot. Can't wait to learn more.
They could put the squeeze on, and silver became one of their targets. But one of the things that happened was that plan was dropped.
Why would any fool target silver and try to put a short squeeze on? Maybe I could think of a couple hundred reasons. They have a couple hundreds of thousands of reasons, like the CFTC caught JP Morgan manipulating the market, but we'll see.
Pretty quickly. That was really...
That's right. JP Morgan at the MRAC and CCP proposal was voting on a market structure that helped tamp down the price in the face of all of this, if you can believe that one.
A couple days story, and it was all over, and people got out of it. And here's the reason why. The total silver market cap, about all the silver that's ever been mined in the world versus all the GameStop.
Well, wait, there's a nice little handy trick there. I mean, because if we're going to make a fair comparison, the former director of the U.S. Mint who just explained how they don't even have any silver left. Auditor Rob says Perth Mint's already in the hole, but let's compare the outstanding float of GameStop to all the silver ever mined in the world, because I hear, now this is unconfirmed, I haven't run this by the lawyers yet, so this might not be true. It's just a rumor. I think it's fair that as long as I phrase it like that. But I did hear a rumor. I may have made it up. It's either one. I'm not sure. But that the plan to recover all the silver is that Jamie Dimon's going to have everybody close their eyes, then count to 1 million. And in between that, he's going to get everybody's grandma's silver and go through the dump fills to get all of the silver mined in the entire history of planet Earth. So that way that Ed Moy's calculations would be comparing apples to apples.
Silver became one of their targets. But one of the things that happened was that plan was dropped pretty quickly. That was really a couple days story. It was all over, and people got out of it. And here's the reason why. The total silver.
All right, we're gonna wrap up for tonight. I'll see you. Good night. Oh, you guys want to hear the reason why? You want to hear Ed's reason why? Okay, I'll stop. I'll behave myself. I saw the comments. I know last time I did this, people were like, "Oh, you're stopping too much." Well, all right, fine. Here's Ed.
Couple days story, and it was all over, and people got out of it.
Sorry,
here's the reason why. The total silver market cap, and I'm talking about all the silver that's ever been mined in the world versus all the GameStop stock added up together, which would be 12 billion. All the silver that's ever been mined in the world at today's prices would be $1.4 trillion. So that's 120 times.
So you can see, in case you need that type of personal analysis for your own financial situations, which I cannot personally endorse because I don't have government licensing to recommend financial products, but chief strategist at Valerum comparing all the silver ever mined, which is obviously, in his opinion, the most useful metric to use. So I think he may be available for hire, I believe. You can look in the description.
A volume of what the GameStop market cap is, and it's a lot harder for a group of individual investors to capture the market and put the squeeze.
Although apparently, according to the LBMA, it wasn't all that hard because they were running out of metal, kind of like the U.S. Mint was. So
on silver. Plus, you have much more diverse use for silver.
Diversity.
So not all that silver is used for investment purposes.
Not just
so it's not as a consolidated place to get it all.
If we could just get this type of diversity throughout Congress and America, the diverse, I mean, it's a principle. Once again, silver setting a great example. I may just point out, even silver coming for a diverse marketplace, which it seems like he's saying, would be a negative factor against a short squeeze. Although, when I'm flying around my flying saucer and I think, well, if all the gold is still there, but if all the silver is there minus what's consumed, which is now about 70% or so, I would actually think maybe that explains why the U.S. Mint has no silver. So I'm not sure if he sees the connection. We'll play one more minute and then really start cutting the nonsense here.
As the stock market is for an individual stock, you have industrial use, jewelry, electronics.
You want a Game Boy, you need silver, buddy.
And people who, when I was at the Mint, when people bought 1 ounce of silver, our American Eagle silver, they would do the modern term for Bitcoin is hodl, which is hold on for dear life. When people generally buy a silver bullion, they hold on to it.
Well, so that's interesting because, I only studied psychology, traded it in option pit market, tripled the gold they gave me my first year. So, I mean, I probably got lucky though. Similar, I just think it's an interesting dynamic that he's saying people are going to hold on to their silver for dear life, especially if they paid 40 or 50 bucks for it and feel like they got ripped off, as some of those conspiracy theorists do, myself included, I might add. I'm proud of it, baby. But yeah, that could mean that it's going to be even harder to get the silver. But we'll see what Ed finishes here.
Bitcoin is hodl, which is hold on for dear life. When people generally buy a silver bullion, they hold on to it. And so there's just a lot less available, really only the derivatives that were available to these investors to try to corner the market. And that has such a small percentage of the overall market cap of silver. In retrospect, people looking at this could have figured out that they would have very little impact.
Completely insignificant. And as you can see, it looks like Charlotte is trumped on that one.
All right. Well, thank you for that explanation. We've got
Charlotte is fortunately a bit kinder about some of these matters than I am, but I was one of the people that clearly was trumped. Although, again, just in case, I think this is so significant. Let's not just take Ed's word or me being a comedian about the matter. Let's get noted analyst and Jim Rickards back on here for what he said about whether there's enough claims to back up the metal supporting that.
People look at these inventories, they compare them to open interest and futures contracts or other contracts and go, oh, there's not enough precious metals to deliver on all those contracts. Well, first of all, that's always true. The paper open interest, if you count futures and over-the-counter derivatives and other contracts, option contracts, et cetera, is always a high multiple of the physical inventory. And that's because it's not supposed to settle. And Blythe Masters said that years ago. I had the quote, I preserved it, but then I could never find it again. I saved it, but she was giving an interview, and I don't know, sometimes people who are highly knowledgeable, they don't want to say everything they know, but they let slip. And she said, gold never settles. And she was right, because if it ever did settle physical for paper, it wouldn't work. But if you read these contracts, there are always termination clauses, force majeure clauses. You know, read the rule book of the COMEX. It says in the rule book, we are not a source of supply. It says that. They also have another rule saying they can change the rules. So, and it says that we can change the rules. They have a board meeting to have an emergency, what we call disorderly markets, and they can change the rules. So they're prepared for this. They know it. Market professionals know it. So I never read too much into these inventory counts, and because of course they're low, and they can always get more gold and silver if they need it.
Well, actually, what I was making jokes over at the end. Let's hear that again.
Inventory counts, and because of course they're low, and they can always get more gold and silver if they need it.
Well, they can always get, that's at least encouraging that they can get more if they need it, because the mint can't apparently do it. But let's just make sure about that. I mean, is that definite?
I talk to dealers all the time, like real physical dealers who, are working orders, et cetera. So I'm kind of out there hands-on with the industry, from mining, mills, refining, dealing, et cetera. And I can tell you gold is in short supply. They can't get it.
Wow. God, well, that tells a much different story. So why you want to read between the lines on some of these things? Again, here was February 2nd when I called BS and wrote to the CFTC back then, which they just have ignored all those evidence files and the comments about their tamping, much like the House Financial Services. Although at least I think it's exciting, because now anyone that we are able to find confirmed to have the evidence could be, maybe they could be obstructing justice as well. Here we see that despite all these things blowing out the dealers, now the mint has to even send out apology letters for their online server. The price is lower, so likely just a coincidence. Now, as you can see here is a 2021 silver domed the Milky Way with a box set proof. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, I did sense these conditions. I mean, we reported on it, and I know many of the longtime subscribers were watching it as it happened, even months before Ed. And I was thinking that, well, gee, a lot of these things, I wonder if they'll be available. So I actually picked up 4 of these babies. Now, of course, finally, one of my silver trades and my conspiracy theories was right, because you see, spot price back then was $26.91, and it's $1 higher now. And the price per item was $567. Interestingly, happened to be out of stock, so I guess not many left. Yet I decided that 2 were enough, and I was thinking about entertaining offers on the other 2. So if you have a interest in perhaps a Milky Way funny version of the big silver short combo pack, I have two copies. One I autographed to the same person twice. Well, 2 different copies of it twice. They only sent one, so I have that. Then another one who I autographed the book to, and I don't think I'm ever going to see again, believe that or not. So I have 2 copies which are altered from their original form, soon to be collector's items, as we're getting an updated version with the table of contents in there too, which will of course be exciting. So I'll throw those in a combo pack, and I will entertain offers at the big silver short at arcadiaeconomics.com. If anyone would like to barter, of course, this is not a financial transaction, just trading silver door stoppers amongst friends. And if you'd like to talk about it more, or want to, maybe you have some, I'm looking for, I bought a bunch of things like this. So I was thinking maybe trading for like a tube of something, but we will see. The big silver short at arcadiaeconomics.com. If you're interested in the Chris Marcus held Milky Way proof. I think Yara, the Reiki Master Marketing Director, has agreed to offer Reiki onto the coin itself if you'd like that upgrade. So I don't know. We'll see what sort of offers we get in there. And again, just having good fun. Lastly, I did mention the big silver short, how the Wall Street banks have left the silver market in place for the short squeeze of a lifetime. Fortunately, and this explains the reason why I didn't have a table of contents or certain other features which are upgraded because unlike certain other institutions, we value our customer feedback. And we're going to get those things in there, but we rushed to get this out there because this was actually published while silver, even though it was written, it took a long time before that, including when I talked to Bart Chilton, former commissioner of the CFTC in, I guess that was over 2 years ago, but laid out. So if anyone's wanting to catch up to speed, it's all there and no need to worry. And perhaps just in wrapping this one up, I might leave you one more time with the phone number for the US Mint, 202-354-7227. And with that said, happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody is doing well, enjoying the freedom in the United States this weekend. I'm not sure what our schedule will be, although it looks like I'm going to see Bill Holter, Rob Keens, and more sometime this weekend. So we may or may not have videos. I'm sure nothing of note could happen between now and then in the silver market. I mean, that would just be completely unexpected given the conditions you've seen here. But to keep you entertained, I have a special video coming your way now.